been all over the world. Humbly, I say I have been all over the world. I've seen gold mining in Kimberley, South Africa. I've been with the Khoisan peoples. In those mines, women are raped. Many people don't know the human rights violations connected with an extractive economy, extractive industry. In Peru, the mines down there. That's why I mentioned struggle, and I keep that chair empty of all the people who have died in struggle. So this is what keeps me strong. This humble little pouch, what we call chanshasha, tobacco. Very important in the work that we do. When the elders and the youth came together in 1990 to put their minds together to figure out what are we going to do. We got waste management. We got all these different waste industries coming with proposals to our tribal leaders, promised them big money if they can dump toxic waste on American Indian lands. Not only that, they hired a nuclear waste negotiator paid for by your money and your taxes. And he approached our tribes. A lot of our tribes are in poverty, looking for ways to provide income and jobs and housing, health care. A lot of them were tempted to take millions of dollars to study the feasibility of storing this country's nuclear waste in their backyard. Mining corporations operating in many of our tribal lands. Deforestation, clear cutting, you name it. We have a list of all the environmental protection issues, natural resource issues, conservation issues, water issues, and human health issues, but also ecosystem health issues. We started to compile a list in the 1990s. To take on some of the largest corporations in the world. That's how IEN was born. But we wanted a different type of structure. We didn't just want another organization where a hee-haw person makes a name for herself or himself, goes and speaks all over the world, national government, but something that has accountability mechanisms built into where the people on the frontline communities speak for themselves. Very critical and fundamental in the approach that we took as the Indigenous Environmental Network. That's why to this day we bring the people who will come from the community to these events, to the New York City People's Climate March. We brought now the numbers as we look at pictures and everything. It was about 700 Native Indigenous peoples, not only from the North but the global South, that marched with frontline communities. And we had to fight the Greens in order to be in the front. Why is it that we still have to fight with the Greens to have a frontline voice of the people who are affected? So these are different things I wanted to share with you. This is just the introduction. This is just my introduction. Chante washtea na peche yezapido. It's with a good heart that I want to stand here and shake your hands. It's in a good way that our people come forward like this. To say a few words. A lot of times we don't know what we're going to say, but I'm letting the Spirit, speak for me. This afternoon, I was really looking at some of the previous presentations that I've done. Some of you have seen my film that I did with pioneers in California. So I kind of came with a prepared text here, because I don't want to forget some of the words, some of the things I wanted to talk about. But looking back, because we've been around 25 years, 25 years, there's not many other environmental justice organizations that are still existing. Money shifts, foundations shift funding, donors, whatever is popular back then is not popular now. Poster childs come and go. Environmental racism had its day. It was promoted as a new civil rights movement. It's had its day. Now you hear new words, just transition. And that was something that came about strategically, not only from IEN, but other organizations in this country that are involved with social justice, environmental justice, climate justice, forming the Climate Justice Alliance, forming the Grassroots for Global Justice, to bring the activist voice from the belly of the beast and start participating in the World Social Forum movement. So we've been very strategic in what we're doing in building not only the base of resistance as Indigenous peoples, and for me, coming out of that fire of the American Indian movement. I remember Dennis, I remember Russell Means, I remember Vernon Belcourt. I was that younger kid. I was the one pumping gas into the car. I was the security. I was the one willing to defend and throw down if I needed to defend our people and our women and our children. I pumped the gas. Some of the elders and older ones said, someday you're going to be up speaking like them. I never knew that. So coming out of that struggle and taking experiences like from the American Indian Movement, the National Indian Youth Council, United Native Americans, many other organizations that were formed. I was part of that generation to where we really needed to look deep on where we are going. We saw the whole issues of federalism. We know what happens when they give us money for economic development. But the economic development, again, was an area of developing our natural resources. Why is it that we have a system that the only thing that we have to negotiate is our land and our resources? And they know that. And they know that we're dealing with poverty, like in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, one of the poorest counties in this whole country, negotiating uranium mining, negotiating water rights. So in the past 25 years, we've been looking deeper into what is happening. There's There's a man, I found a quote of his, and I just have to tell you this quote. He's an economist. Herman Daly. Who knows Herman Daly? Raise your hand. Have you heard of him? Michael Scadani, doctor. Chapter 13. Herman Daly, the father of ecological economy. That's what he's been labeled. Look it up. He said, there is something fundamentally wrong in treating the earth as if it were a business in liquidation. And that's where we're at. We will continue to fight the fight. We will continue to be the advocates. We will continue to organize and have different tools in our toolbox and organizing. We will continue to challenge the regulatory system of the colonial system of the United States and Canada, and now working globally, we're working with other countries and other indigenous peoples to take on these issues, to hold these governments accountable, to address governance issues, to address human rights issues, whether or not the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People is being implemented, not only in those countries, but in our country. We will continue to do that. We will continue to strategize to have financial campaigns, divestment campaigns, go to shareholder meetings, and give the corporations a black eye as we bring people from the frontline communities who are literally dying from the toxic practices, environmental destruction that's happening by those corporations. We do that with the tar sands. We help form the UK tar sands network and going to the financial centers who are the investors in tar sands. So behind the scenes, we're talking like this with the Bill McGibbons. We're talking like this to the other allies that we have throughout the country. We will continue to do that fight. We will continue to mobilize so that we give information and empowerment to local communities to organize themselves.